There's an old expression, be careful what you wish for. Before the pandemic, did you ever find yourself wishing to work from home? Thinking that that would just be like the best, all the advantages. No more commuting, you can work from your pajamas and slippers if you want to, take a nap in the middle of the day if need be, since nobody's watching over your shoulder. Eliminate childcare expensive. I mean, I could just go on and on and on with all of the advantages of working for home, or so we think. And now, after shutdown, back way probably somewhere around March, when your office decided that remote work is what's going to have to be for a while, you were forced into working from home. Did you find out maybe it's not so great after all? That actually some of those advantages you thought were outweighed by many, many disadvantages. If so, you are not alone. Way too many people are struggling with this remote work, and it is leading to decreased productivity, decreased focus, and really close to burning out. So I am here today, I'm Ellen from LNG Coaching, to talk to you about how to take remote work from home and implement it in a way that can be advantageous, definitely increase your productivity and your efficiency. Because you know what? I've been there. Just like you, I work from home, but I chose to do so over 15 years ago. And let me tell you, in the beginning, I was tripping over my feet all the time. I found out that, hey, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. Working from home was fraught with distractions and disruptions and so many other things that I had not anticipated. And through lots of trial and error and lots of studying, I have worked really hard to make working from home really successful. And I want to share with you today some of what I learned so you can either take some of the struggles that you're having and turn them around, or prevent some that might be around the corner. Because let's face it, even if your offices have begun to start reopening, many of you are finding out that you're not going back into the office 5 days a week. Some of you aren't going back to the office for at least another month, maybe till the end of the year. And I bet you that there are several out there, you may not even know it yet, whose offices are going to shut down, and remote work from home is going to be a permanent change. Yep, it's happening, and we need to be prepared. So, once again, lots and lots of advantages to working from home. You can have that flexible schedule. You can run out to a doctor's appointment if need be. You might even be able to eliminate some child care expenses. I mean, heck, you can throw in a load of laundry in between phone calls or prep your dinner during your lunch. Yeah, they can be advantages, but if they're not navigated properly, if you are not intentional about your behavior during the workday, you're going to find that your productivity and your focus will plummet. So let's take a look at what could potentially be a huge disadvantage to work from home. And then I promise to give you a lot of tips. So stick with me here. I'm going to tell you some things that you can start implementing immediately to work towards your advantage and make working from home a success. So the first thing to be aware of is that working from home can be really physically taxing. It can have a detrimental impact on both your physical and your mental well-being. Just by the nature of no longer needing to commute, not needing to leave your home, to get into a car, to park and walk into an office building, run for a bus or take stairs to get to a subway, all of that has decreased your daily physical movement. And if you're not intentional about putting it back in, you actually may find that your fitness level goes down, and it has nothing to do with the amount you are exercising. By not needing to leave, you actually could find yourself spending very little or zero moments outside. And that is not good for our mental well-being. We need breaks where we are out in nature. So yeah, if it's not inclement weather, you need to take breaks during the day, but you have to be intentional about them, or you can find that you procrastinate actually going back in to your desk. Because after all, when you're working from home, nobody is watching. You are responsible for yourself, and you have to be disciplined around your time. That's a skill, and it can be learned. If you were thrown suddenly into working from home and you've never done it before, you probably don't have a physical space that's really set up well for it. You may be spending an awful lot of time on your on your laptop, not having a desktop. And what that is doing is it is causing you to tilt your head down, hunch your shoulders forward. It is literally a pain in the neck. And it's not good for you. You've got to be able to make sure that you have a screen that you can see. So we'll talk about that again in a little while, but right now I want you to take a look at how you physically are spending your day when you're working. Please don't be working from your bed, from your couch. It's just not good for your body. When you work from home, you have absolutely no boundaries. There is no set, now I'm home, now I'm working, because you're working from home. You may not have realized it, but every single time you left your office, even if you brought work home with you, your mind was being told, your brain got this message, it's the end of the workday. Unless you set up rituals to start your workday and end your day, your brain kind of doesn't know how to turn it on and shut it off. And you may find yourself working all the time, thinking about your work all the time because it's in your face all the time. So those boundaries are gone. And if you were struggling with life-work balance beforehand, working from home is going to make it even more difficult. There are endless distractions and disruptions working from home. Doorbells ringing, dogs barking, if you have a dog and you take them out for a walk, bumping into your neighbors who start to chat with you. Phones ringing and you notice on the caller ID, gee, it's your mom, and you think I should pick it up and chat with her. I mean, there's just numerous distractions. And if you do not live alone and you happen to have children who have been impacted, and so they've been home for the summer, or maybe they're no longer going to be back to school full time and they're doing homeschooling, all of those things mean navigating, changing, being flexible. However, if you don't set your own hours, of course, with flexibility around those you're living with, but if you don't have in your mind, now I'm working and now I'm not, if you don't train yourself to be totally engaged with your work when you're working and totally engaged with your family when you are with them, your work will suffer and so will your relationships. Focus and productivity can really plummet when you work from home for all of the reasons I've already mentioned, but also there is a tendency to do two things when we're working from home. One is we increase multitasking. Those things like, hey, I'll throw in the laundry, or let me answer the phone because it is mom. All of those things. I'm talking with my kids while I'm answering emails. Multitasking goes up if we're not careful. And we know that when multitasking increases, productivity, efficiency, and impact goes down. The other problem is procrastination tends to increase. When nobody's looking over your shoulder to see, are you at your desk? Are you doing what you're being paid to do? It is so easy to procrastinate. And we need to be diligent about not procrastinating and getting our work done, not falling into that habit, that mindset where, hey, if I don't do it now, I'll do it later. I think I want to take a nap now. I'll do it after dinner. We're procrastinating all the time, and as a result, suddenly we're causing more stress when the work isn't getting done, and now deadlines are encroaching. So we need to be super, super careful about that procrastination tendency and that tendency to multitask. And last but not least, you may not recognize it, but working from home, even if you've got a house full around you, can be incredibly lonely. Your coworkers and your colleagues may not be your best friends. You may never speak to them outside of Monday through Friday work hours, but you probably did not realize how much the interaction, the chatting at the water cooler or filling up your coffee cup, the talking about work issues, the having people to bat ideas around with, you just don't realize how much that impacts your day. So working from home can be really lonely if you don't put things into place to make sure that you don't succumb to that kind of a feeling. So I hope you're not feeling really depressed now and saying, oh, this is horrible. I really can't wait to get back to the office, because we don't know when that's going to be. And that's certainly not how I want to leave you. I want to make sure that I give you the tips that you need to make sure that you can thrive, you can be successful working from home. So tip number 1, I want you to start, if you have not already done that, as of tomorrow, you're going to wake up and pretend that you are going off to work. No, you no longer have to commute, but I want you to get back to the habits that you had when you were working in a brick and mortar office outside of your home. I bet you had your alarm set for the same time each day. You had your morning routine where you got up, you showered, you got dressed, you had your breakfast. Maybe you exercised before work and then did all of those routines. Whatever that routine is, I want to encourage you to get back to it. Although you can work in your comfy clothes and slippers, I don't encourage that you do so. You need to give your message, you need to give the brain the message. This is a work day and I'm off to work. Tip number 2, you truly need to set boundaries around working hours and home hours. And if you work in your home, and perhaps you have a partner who's also working from home, or again, kids that are home, you need to discuss this with them. You need to be able to explain the need to not be distracted during your work hours. As best you can, decide, when do you want to work? Hey, listen, if you're a night owl, this might be the greatest blessing ever. Maybe working from 12 to 8 is perfect for you instead of 9 to 5. But whatever it is, do your best to set those hours and know when you're going to be working. And then share that information with the people that you live with. Share that information with your friends who think, wow, now that you're working from home, you're accessible all the time. Not only do they need to know that, no, I'm working during these hours, you need to get really disciplined around putting the distractions out of sight, not answering the text messages, not answering the cell phones when they're personal, when you're trying to do business. Set your boundaries and stick to them. Number 3, if you do not have a dedicated workspace, I want you to, the minute you stop watching this video, take a walk around your apartment or your home and get creative. Figure out where you can work, preferably a place where you have a door you can close. But even if you don't, find a corner that you can set up as your working space. Keep all your materials together. When you are working every day in a different location and your work stuff is scattered throughout your home, again, those boundaries go out the window, and it's a tendency for you to feel as if you're working all the time. You can't ever close it off because it's always staring you in the space. So do your best to create a dedicated workspace. And once you do, the next tip is to plan out your work week and your day to the best that you can in advance. Get to a calendar, get to a day timer, whatever works best for you, and really plan out, what must I accomplish this week professionally? When am I going to do it? What is my day going to look like? And do your best to stick to that schedule. Tip number 5 is to safeguard your health. And here is where you may need to make some minor financial investments. They shouldn't be huge. And you might even ask your employer if they can help. But if you are only working from a laptop, see about getting yourself a large screen or a desktop. And if you can't do that, put that laptop on that desk with a couple of boxes or big books underneath it so that your screen becomes eye level with you, and get rid of that pain in the neck that has possibly emerged since you started working from home. You also want to make sure that you're in an ergonomically correct chair. That you can Google all kinds of information about how to choose one. They're not as expensive as you think, but if you can't afford one right now, or you can't get your employer to agree to purchase one for you, make sure you at least are in a chair that allows you to keep your feet flat on the ground, have a support for your back, and again, make sure that your face is eye level with your screen. You spend an awful lot of hours in that chair. Make sure that it's one that's supporting your body. And speaking of those hours in that chair, you also want to make sure that you schedule in breaks. I personally believe you should take about 5 to 10 minutes every hour to get out of your chair. Rest your eyes, get it away from your screen, get your body out of the chair, moving around, maybe get yourself some water, take a breath of fresh air as long as it's not pouring outside, and really just give that body a break. Do some simple stretches, stretch your neck, stretch your hands and your shoulders, wiggle your wrists from all of the typing that you've been doing on that laptop. All of those things will help make your body feel a lot better. You also may want to invest in some noise canceling headphones. They're really not that expensive and they are fantastic. Number one, when you're on the telephone, it will avoid what also is that royal pain in the neck. Hello, that holding the phone over here while you're writing and taking notes. Oh my gosh, guys, that is so bad for your neck and for your shoulders. So by having those wireless headphones, you avoid doing that. You also can get up and actually walk around your office or your apartment while you're talking on the phone. And of course, that noise canceling, even when you're not on the phone, will be huge when it comes to avoiding distractions. So you definitely want to think about investing in noise canceling headphones. Tip number 6 is about being flexible and learning to communicate. I've mentioned this several times already, but I cannot stress it enough. Unless you live alone, you need to bring your partners and your housemates into the communication, teamwork together to figure out how everybody can be successful now that they're spending more time at home. And be flexible about when you take a break from work to maybe help out with the kids and let your spouse do some work. Or again, if you need to take time off during the day on Wednesday, maybe that means you do put in some hours on Saturday. That's okay, as long as you are intentional and you are communicating your needs with your family members and your friends. Let them know that just because you're working from home right now does not mean you are accessible all the time. And last but not least, tip number 7 is to maintain your social connections, both your professional ones and your personal ones. So if you are having meetings on Zoom with your fellow coworkers and colleagues, that's great. But maybe you can even throw in an occasional meeting that has nothing to do with work. Friday, happy hour. Let's get on Zoom and meet and just kind of chit chat together. Maybe some of the networking meetings you went to have started to meet virtually and you can reconnect with people that way. Or certainly plan some socially distanced lunch breaks with friends or afternoon coffee. As long as you're intentional about them and they fit into your work schedule, they will work. So guys, I really hope that you found this helpful. And I'm going to encourage you, if you are truly struggling with this, go to my website, www.lngcoaching.com. Sign up for a complimentary strategy session. Let's get on the phone, and I promise you will walk away with at least 3 tips that you can implement immediately into your unique life situation. I will help you navigate the challenges so that you can thrive both personally and professionally, even when working from home. Thank you so much for listening in. If you found this valuable, please subscribe to my station so you'll be alerted when I post new videos. Share this with others who will benefit. And by all means, comment right below. Let me know, what are your greatest challenges working from home? What are you doing that's working for you? Maybe you can share that with others, and how I can help you. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon. Bye.